Okay.
Okay, hi everyone and welcome to session 6 of our 4th campaign. Dun, dun, dun. Chapter 1, session 6 into say. Okay, so Rachel is back today to join us. Yay! Welcome back, Rachel. I'm so glad you're
Not dead.
yeah.
Not feverish.
Yes, pretty much. Okay, again. And just for Rachel's sake, we will recap on the basic idea and concept of the Guild of Foreign Trade, okay, because this is what you missed out the last session, and just so that we don't break any rules, let me describe the entire area again. So just a quick backup. Everyone proceeded from the main streets of Byzantium towards the foreign trade because they were in search of armor and clothing and weapons, right? Yeah, that was what everybody was looking for.
No, weaponry.
Weapons and
not armor.
clothing.
Clothing for her.
Uh-huh.
Weapons for Marcus.
Yes.
And
So-
food for.
Gran is not available for us today. So the dwarf somehow just disappeared into somewhere in the
Of course
foreign
he
trade.
did.
Okay, yeah. So let's just leave it as that. And there seems to be a few merchant tents here open now. Okay. So let me describe what the guild looks like. Now this massive building, right, is the Guild of Foreign Trade. Unlike other structures you have seen so far in Byzantium, this place is built to look like an actual fort. So it looks like an embassy because you know how embassies look like, right? Where they have a buildings inside and then there is walls built around it. So there is actually a large area of land within and then a building. So it looks like pretty much like a fort now because that entire plot of land, right, belongs to another country and not this country, that kind of thing. So this looks exactly like that also, like a standalone fort in the middle of a city. But it is not the keep because you know in general cities they tend to have keeps where the church and chapels are and then where people can run in if there's a siege going on. This looks like it but not quite, not really. Okay, so it's like an embassy of sorts, detached from the rest of the city. So there are watchtowers looking out over the entrance of the fort. So the watchtowers are here, W1, W2, okay, as you can see, and these the indications are here with this this sign here, okay, and there are guards patrolling there. And at the bottom right, you see there are people both alive and undead in and out. So there are all sorts of people streaming in and out. It's a very, very busy place. And at the entrance, there are a pair of skeleton guards just watching the flow and keeping the track orderly. So they have to line up and everything lah. Okay, no jumping queue, things like that. And they'll get a bit crabby if you do. So merchants and visitors who have caravans or are carrying large cargo are allowed inside after inspection. So the usual stuff, all the security checks and stuff. But if you do not carry cargo, you do not require such a full checkup. Then they will just let you go in as long as you don't look suspicious, okay? And inside the guild is streaming with merchants, customers, workers and the like. And please note that this entire area is a potentially hostile environment. So to maximize gameplay, no table talking, okay? So from now on, whatever you say, it has to be according to your character. So please stay in character. Whatever action you take, please do so in roleplay, okay? So teamwork is highly recommended. And if somebody makes a decision, roll with it. Do not overwrite it, do not talk over it, just roll with it, work with whatever it is, okay? Just go with it already. And do not crawl over the table unless it's roleplay. And please treat this area as a living environment. So if you want to discuss a plan, but you don't want people to overhear, you have to whisper. Okay? Yeah, so basically it's like a real legit environment, and I would like you to treat it that way. So if you take too long to respond, right, I will consider your answer as silence also. And that could also potentially trigger a hostile response. So you have to be on your toes, okay? Can? So far? Okay? Okay, ready? Alright, so when you enter, right, a skeleton hands you a brochure. This one is what I forgot to tell you guys the last time, yeah, which is the map. Yeah, which is the map. Okay, But the brochure is the map.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I know where I am now.
yes.
You are here.
Yeah, you
And it
are
goes.
here. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So W1 and W2 are the watchtowers, and then there are Wanderers. Yeah, there are, these are all merchant tents. Okay, Wanderers, Baiso, Fetsi, Exotic Fruit, Ferunian Wines, Feather and Furs, and Guinea Men. Yes. Okay, so would you like to shop around, Mystic Man?
Yeah.
Okay, what would you like to look at?
Wait, I'm super broke. Do I have money? Let me check. I have a very little bit of money. Can I even use a wand? Probably not. Merchant tents.
Merchant tents has Baiso, Fetsi, Ferunian Wines, Feathers and Furs, and Guinea Men.
Wait, I thought we were gonna
I don't
go
remember.
like redo the whole getting smoked and
No. Just for Mystic Man to do some shopping if she wants. Yeah. No.
Meanwhile.
Yeah.
You want to see
Yeah.
anything of interest for me?
Roll perception. Please not be done.
Yeah.
I asked for not 13. Technically, it's not 13. 10.
Barely. Okay,
It's still
so
something.
Mystic Man, as you're looking through the many tents, right, trying to find something that you might feel is interesting, you come across the last tent at the very end of the merchant tents that are all set up here, and the signboard says Guinea Man. Okay, and there's a lady in charge here. She looks like a sexy female human, completely covered in leather and piercings. She has piercings everywhere. Okay, and she has a couple bodyguards with her lah. They are orc bodyguards. They are big, strong, and skinny looking, and they look like they have not showered in a year.
Ugh.
Yeah, and then and you realize what after looking at her, and then you look at her storefront, right? You realize what she's selling are slaves. Instead of face change. Yeah. So they no that we're talking she's actually selling slaves. Okay, so the slaves look to be moderately well taken care of. If after all if the stock is inferior, the price will go down. Okay, so all of them have their hair untrimmed ever since capture, because this is how the custom is like in Tay. If you have very, very long unkempt hair, you are basically a slave, so it's very hard for them to escape. Yeah, so whoever has the longest hair, right, it's very obvious they are the ones who are having difficulty getting sold, because they've been with the slavers for some time. Okay, so Mystic, can you make an insight check as you are looking at the cages? You realize that some of the people inside the cages are from High Forest, and they have been captured for some time. They are your subjects. You see 20, right? Okay, so with a glance, right, you actually immediately recognize them. So you see 2 gnome females. You see 1 dryad. Her name is Melaye. She is an S3 dryad, and she is one of the subjects of Princess Isone. And then you see next to her is Sylph. Sylph is an air spirit, air elemental type of nymph. Okay, and her name is Wish. She is Asherel's daughter. Do you remember who's Asherel? He is the wind ambassador.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the wind elemental ambassador. His daughter is here.
Oh my.
Captured, yeah. And then next to her is a centaur, and his name is Warden Kerdok. He is Warden of the North, and he's an officer under General Strike, who is like your godfather like that, the General of High Forest who commands your wooden army. Yeah, so actually there are a few officers captured here, and they've been captured here for some time. And then in a tinier cage, right, hanging from the top of the tent, you see a bird cage, and inside are all sprites. And they are Darkin's errand boys. Do you remember who's Darkin?
The bird?
Yeah, he's the raven bird, the bird folk. Your scout, your royal scout.
The one who lost his brother.
Yeah, the one who lost his brother.
That choose to be royalty.
Yes.
Stop looking after people.
So, because of your good role, right, your insight tells you that trying anything funny in broad daylight will be a very bad idea because it's legal in day to trade slaves. You might have to figure out some other way to deal with this matter. Yeah, but so anyway, a whole bunch of your subjects are captured in their cage, and then all of them look very beaten and worn, and it seems that they've been there for months, maybe even longer, because if you give a quick count, right, you guys have been in the Elven city for many months, so they've probably been traveling for almost a year by now. Because that means they have been captured before the mitre was set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk to the person in charge of the shop.
Okay, it's a very sexy lady. Her name is Mistress Milenka. Let me see if I have her here. I think I have her here. I hope I have her here. I do. Her name is Mistress Milenka. And she is flanked by 2 bodyguards.
Okay.
Moment ah. She looks like this.
Wow.
So sexy!
She's human.
Don't say this out loud.
You can't really tell because she's wearing a leather mask. It only shows her eyes and lips, so you can't tell really. You can't really tell. Eh. Eh.
But her skin is like flesh color now, it's not.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so these are the people with her. Okay.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. And business seems to be slow today because if you take another look around, you see that some of the cages are already emptied out. They've been here more or less for maybe, let's say, 2 days because the tent seems quite recently set up. The only permanent shop here is Wanderers. The rest here are all makeshift tents. So right now they have permit to set up. So it looks like quite new, like no dust or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the cages, right, look like there's sand all over the bottom area. And then yeah, because of the travel, there's a lot of dirt path outside now. So they just pulled it in and then left it there. They didn't even bother pulling the cages down from the caravans. It's still with the wheels and everything. Yeah, okay? And everything just somewhat dusty. It's a slow day today, so she looks kind of bored. She's using a whip to sweat flies. And for Lu, you see that there are some children in there. And for Hoga, you see that some villagers from your nearby area are also here captured and enslaved for sale. But you don't recognize any of them. But from their clothing, right, you can tell that, hey, you recognize them, they're like your neighbors like that. Okay, so I leave the table to Mystic Mare. Can we start with Mystic Mare first?
Okay, so I'm going to go up to Mistress and I ask her, are you the one I speak to if I'm interested? And,
Yes, what is it? What do you want?
just wondering, where are these slaves from?
All over the place.
Which ones are your best?
I don't know. What do you like? You like the strong one? You like the skinny one? You like the young one? Maybe you like the old one?
Which one is the freshest?
She just snorts and then she says, ah. So she will walk over to the cage and then she will take her whip and whoosh. So she slashes at all of them and then all of them like jump a little bit lah. And then she says, maybe that screamy one. That screamy one over there. And the one that was screaming is Sylph. So she was in a trance for a bit and then she finally woke up and then she so when she got up right she saw you and she's like and then she starts nudging the other people. She starts nudging the other people.
How long will you be in this area?
She starts examining her nail and is like, I don't know. Whenever all this stock is run out, you know, then we go.
But it does seem to be a slow day. I guess that means it will be some time.
Yes, slow day.
What are your prices?
Scream someone, why don't you? And then she slashes them again, and then
I didn't know that's the best way to get a crowley.
one of the children starts to cry.
You know, a noisy slave is not a very good slave.
Seen but
She
not
she
heard.
looks at you and she's like, you must be new.
Is that what they are used for nowadays?
Yeah, so she just doesn't seem amused. Then she says, so who do you like?
What are your prices like for the one that screamed? I want an average.
Okay, let's see.
How much we need? I don't think I can buy any of them.
Oh, for the screamy one, she's special, that little one.
You drive a hard bargain there.
For you, 80,000 gold. If you buy her now, I give you a child free. Less mouths to feed, no? And then she laughs at the ox, and then the ox just
That's funny, miss.
Yeah, that's funny, this first. Yeah.
I see. Let me have a think about it. I still want to have a walk around and see the rest of your wares.
Take your time. I'll be right here.
Okay, so I want to have a look at what the material of the cages are made of.
Steel.
Just flat steel, no
Flat
magic.
steel.
No magic.
You have to roll for that.
Roll for Arcana. But aren't you wearing
Wait, what am I wearing?
the
Oh, right. 13. Not 13. That's all I really roll with this time.
You have no idea. Maybe not. No idea.
How long will it take to send a letter to your family?
Are you saying that in front of her?
Yeah.
In front of the mistress?
Yeah.
I mean, she's just talking about family letters.
Okay.
Like if you were to send a letter to your family and they'll get back to you.
I think it's going to take a while considering how far I am from home.
True.
Plus, with any of these, even we need to make sure that these can last the journey back as well. So we need to secure a few means of transport.
She heard you. So she says, oh, that one's very easy. You just need to register at the registration office.
Oh,
Pay
Oh,
some
delivery.
money, they deliver. Wherever you want, they deliver. As long as you have the gold. We speak gold here.
Gold I have. Could be more though. You know, you never have enough.
I know exactly what you are meaning.
I still want to look at the other shops
Okay.
before I decide where to
Yes.
spend.
Take your time. We'll be here. Maybe 5 days, maybe 10 days, maybe no more days.
You don't do reservations, right?
For you, darling, 100 gold.
Mm.
For a reservation.
But I only hold for you 3 days. 3 days, okay? Yes?
Which one do you want?
At this point, while you guys are discussing in front of the cages, right, your subjects are starting to get more and more excited when they see you. They're like then they're shaking the cage and they're like, yeah. And one of them says, Princess! Princess is me! Princess! Don't roll inside.
Oh no. Okay. Ooh, 18.
You realize that if you don't get them to shut the fuck up, things might go wrong really fast.
I yell at them to quiet. Like really, really angry.
The mistress Milenka starts to feel like something is up. So she looks at you,
I'm trying to think.
and then she looks at the cage, and then she starts to whip the cage again.
Thanks.
I don't understand. They weren't this noisy. And one of the children dies. One of the kids just yeah. So it's a human child, one of your neighbors. So so she just looks at the kid and is like, not again.
Does that happen often?
Fifi, what you doing? Come here. Get that one out, right now. And then, yes, mistress. So he walks over to the cage, and then you see he takes out a key from his belt, and then he unlocks the thing, and then the cage opens, and then he goes in. Then once he goes in, all the slaves just scoot to the other end, and then he just goes over and grabs the kid out by the leg, and then just drags the kid out, and then throws out on the floor like that. And then he closes the cage, locks it, and then keeps his key at the belt here. Then after that, he just stands outside right where the door is of the cage. Then the child, right, the mistress comes over to inspect. So she starts to inspect him to see whether he's really dead. And since after a bit of prodding and poking and checking his pulse, the little boy really is dead. He's about 8 years old, and he looks like he traveled a long journey in shackles and everything, and he's very, very skinny. So she just checked the amount of meat on his body, and then she checked the size of his limbs, and she sighs like, useless.
Not much
No.
on them.
No meat on his bones. Nothing. So she gets the other orc to grab the kid, throw him into a wheelbarrow, and then that orc brings the wheelbarrow next door, which is the feathers and furs. And over here, he gives the kid over to the merchant, and the merchant sees the kid and starts to strip the kid out and chop him up for food for his own supplies. Yeah, so you are watching this entire transaction as it happens. Yeah, then the merchant pays the orc a couple silver. Only a couple silver. Yeah. Okay, the orc pockets it and then walks back to his friend. And then you see the merchant finish chopping up the kid and feeding it to the stuff that he has for sale, which are about a whole bunch of different animals, like pigs and hawks and war horses, special type of war horses that eat meat. Yeah, so after this entire visual, right, you've never seen anything like this before.
Very efficient.
That people are actually treated as fodder, as cattle.
I want to make a reservation. I open up my coin purse and I dig out like 100 gold and I'm like, I still want to think about it, but just to make sure nobody else buys it before I do, this is 100 gold. Yeah.
But which
For
one?
which one?
For the one that screams, you said she's the best.
80 grand? That's the wind element, right?
Yeah, just her.
I can't
The
reserve all of them,
reservation is
right?
for one or
For one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
That's
So
what
it's
I have,
100.
actually.
I have enough of
Okay. Then she says, fine. Just 3 days, yeah?
3 days. Okay.
Oh, what's the element's name again?
Wish. Her name is Wish.
Is there anywhere to get a night's rest?
A
it's
night's rest
daytime?
here.
I
It's
can't
still very bright in daylight.
Yeah.
Bright daylight. You guys just started off.
It's just the morning of the day of rest. The day
Yeah.
has only begun.
want some roast onions.
No, there is no
In
place.
here.
Yeah, if you
all
look at your
offices and
pamphlet,
shops.
right, don't have. But if you want to deliver stuff, right, you have to register first and then go to the transport office.
I
Yeah.
want to check it out, the registration office and the transport office, to see what the price is like for delivery.
Sure.
How
So you
long?
give her 100 gold,
Yep.
for which? Okay.
Yes.
The sprites are making a lot of noise because by now, right, the most of Mystic Mare's subjects seem to understand what's going on after they overheard the conversation, but the sprites are too tiny and they don't really get it. They're not that smart, so they are squeaking a lot in their cage. And then the orc is like, "Oi, quiet there, you! Hey,
And it swings back and hits him, right?
No, he can't even reach it.
Oh.
Yeah, he can't reach it. So the mistress just and then she uses her whip to smack it also. One of the sprites dies. And then all the rest of them keep quiet. Okay? They all settle down. Yeah. And then she says, that one, feed it to my bird, feed it to my bird. And then the orc says, yes, mistress. So but he's like, he can't even get to the
No, he goes out and drags a step ladder.
no step ladder. He will just keep trying until he gets it eventually. So mistress asks Mystic Mare, what is your name?
You can put it under Luciana.
Lucian.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. 3 days. 3 days, yeah? No more than 3 days.
Nice.
Okay. Where would you like to go next?
Registration office.
Registration office. Okay. So you head towards the registration office?
Yep.
Okay. So you make your way there and you see that there is a human male sitting at a booth at the registration office, which is very clinical. It's completely white and there are glow balls everywhere, floating everywhere. So it actually looks kind of pretty, like a hotel concierge. All white balls and then a red ball guy in the center. And he's just sitting there in the window and he says, "Hi, I'm Zeke, how can I help you?"
Zeke?
Zeke.